Welcome to the channel Dealing with Feelings. And today we have two special guests, and they are Lauren Woodall and Spencer Hoefert. And I met them, welcome to the show. I met them by listening to their music at One Love Cafe here in Gainesville, Florida. So, Lauren and Spencer, how did you start playing music together?
So we met at Santa Fe College in Gainesville, Florida, and we were actually taking music class together. And I ended up meeting a guitarist for a gig. And from there, it kind of just blossomed into, a musician relationship. And for 4 years, we've been playing together now. And, he's my go-to, guy.
Well, you guys sound excellent together. And the reason why I invited you, because your music was so joyful. And one of my books, Dealing with Feelings book with my Emotatudes series, is called Joy Springs Forth. And I could really hear joy in your voice and in your music. So can you tell me about your passion for music?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I started playing guitar when I was young, about 10. I was always really interested in music. My parents had a lot of it around the house. It was just something that was exciting to me. And as I got older, I started to kind of have an interest in playing the guitar, and I'd always Dad had he played a little bit, and I was really just captivated by it. I started picking up and playing, with my dad teaching me a little bit, and it's always been a really important force in my life.
And when you're playing for an audience, can you tell me, is it different? And what is different from playing at home by yourself and then with an audience?
Well,
that's a good question.
With an audience, sometimes comes, you're sometimes presenting a certain show in different situations. You're trying to, incite a certain reaction from the crowd and stuff like that. But I try and spend my time, whether I'm performing or alone, practicing. I try and spend my focus on keeping a dialogue and interaction between me and my bandmates. So, if I'm playing a duo with Lauren, I try and keep, the communication between us strong. I guess with the thought of that because to me the communication is what's really strong about music, and then the music that I love and great music feels communicative, and I think if we can cultivate that dynamic between the two of us, sorry for the dog.
This is my dog.
If we can cultivate that dynamic between us, then hopefully it'll extend to the relationship with the audience as well.
Yes, and it did. I really, and if you have a chance to send me a little video clip, I'll put it into the YouTube video that I upload. That would be great. So, Lauren, what about you? Can you tell me about your voice and how you found your voice and how you perfected and how it's important to play with a band and all that?
Well, I actually started singing. I was in choir, so I was a choir kid for a very, very long time. And when I got to Santa Fe, I took private vocal lessons with Lynn Sandiford. She's the teacher there and the choir director at Santa Fe in their music program. And that's actually how I really got my voice, because she is actually classically trained. And that's what gave it the power, kind of, and helped me find what they call the ring, which is a certain spot in your voice where everything is aligning. So breath support and all of your muscles you're supposed to be using are all aligning, and they're in the perfect pocket. So it's called the ring, and she helped me get that voice. And so I owe a lot of that to her. And then as far as perfecting it and working with my bandmates, that's something that every single time I'm finding, I have to go back to that space each time and communicate, because it's a different scenario. And you just have to pull yourself into that mindset each time. Sometimes, at least for me, sometimes that's not always as easy for me as it is for Spencer. And I really have to get my mindset into that with communicating and really listening to what's going on musically instead of really playing.
Do you think music has made you a better person?
I think so. I think I'm a very introverted person, even though I might not seem like it all of the time, especially when I'm performing. And I think that music helps me communicate with others with words that I wouldn't be able to produce.
Have you written any songs?
I have, yes.
Oh, can you guys? I don't know. I don't know if right now would be a good time to ask you to play any, but what songs have you written and where do you play them?
So I have written a couple of songs just about different scenarios in my life. I've had the fortunate opportunity of studying with a really great songwriter, and one of her main things that she always advocates for is finding the humanity in songs and really being able to write a song that you can relate to personally, but other people can relate to the humanity in the song personally.
It's a good match, and I really enjoyed. You played a lot at the One Love Cafe. You played a lot of songs I'm familiar with. Is there a reason you picked those songs or that genre or?
Why? I think we usually try with covering songs, gigs that require that, just to pick songs that we love for various reasons. Songs that have different elements that we think are valuable, and also songs that we think could be compelling to work with as a duo. Like certain songs tend to be stronger in more reduced situations like that, like just performing like solo guitar and voice. Whereas some songs seem to benefit a lot from a larger instrumentation.
Yeah. I really, really enjoy your music. And I know I have a hunch that you're going to take this far because I think your heart is in the right place. And I think that joy comes out when you sing. So please, whatever you do, keep the joy. And because I think joy is important. Can you speak to joy in music and how that has resonated in your life?
I think it goes along with what I was saying earlier, at least for me, where it sounds kind of cliche, but music really does help me communicate in ways that I wouldn't be able to put words to it. So, in the kind of feeling that you get after you've really connected with the other musicians that are in your band, or it's just a duo, once you really have that energy, it's on a different plane, and it's so weird to experience. It almost feels like a high, like it's so I don't know how to describe, like ethereal almost. That connection that you get, and
it's a spiritual. I think it is spiritual because I did a lot of research on joy, and I found that you can be happy. Like right now, I'm happy. I made this great plate of lasagna, and I'm gonna love it, and eat it. But when I share it with my family and we have fun eating it together, that's where the joy comes. You can't really experience joy unless you have a group to share it with. And then there's something magical that happens when you share music together or an experience. And that's the difference between happiness and joy.
Yeah, I agree. What is your input on
I mean, it's something that makes me very, very happy in my life, and I think that's why I've done a lot of it. Especially in any playing situation, I think the most important element is being present, and just your own presence with the band, with the other musicians, and kind of forgetting what you have to do after the gig or what happened before the gig or whatever else is going on. You have to put that away and really be in the moment with and that's kind of what the music's about, is just capturing the spirit of that moment and not trying to get outside of that or fill your mind with too many other thoughts. And I think, to me, that's a really joyous experience, because when everybody in a group is really in that moment, then you're kind of all having this experience together that can be really powerful. And I think that is what makes great music so great, and that's the energy that audiences can be off of.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's like you forget your own ego and you're in it, the moment with everyone there. That's why I like music. My brother-in-law's a musician. That's why I like musicians, is because they're like, I was a theater person, and musicians are musicians are much more like, let's all do this, everyone. And it's a participatory group experience. That's the difference in my mind. But yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head. So I really want to wish you guys the best in all that you're doing, and is really nice. And so, yeah. So I wish you guys so much luck, and I know whatever you do, you're gonna have fun because you're in the right spirit of it all. So I will say goodbye, unless do you have any questions for me before we wrap it up?
I was curious, just because I had actually Googled you before we had done the meeting. So whenever you introduced yourself, so I was wondering if you could elaborate on some of your books.
And Emotatudes are vibratory beings that I write about. It's a children's books on little vibratory beings that help children understand their feelings in concrete ways. So, so you might have seen some of my, did you see any of my videos about the baby Emotatudes?
No, I didn't get to see them.
Oh, that's embarrassing because I dressed up like one of the characters, Dr. Titch. But I'm having fun with this. And I have a series of about 12 books. And my goal is to get kids to read books that help promote emotional intelligence. Because I think that's part of the problem right now in our world, that people are not connected enough to what's going on in their heart. And so if we can reach kids at early on, I was a teacher for 30 years, we can make positive social change. Mm-hmm. So I do the art, and I do the writing and the research behind it. And so every time I write about a feeling, I read books about that feeling. And so, I extend it, and having this interview will help me talk about joy. And it will also help you promote your work.
Yeah. Yes.
Desperation, but heaven help me, all my inspiration. Ain't a new religion, but there might be a congregation to say I'm through. But one look at you, and I play the part anytime for you. Ooh.